In the year 30 BC, the greatest empire the Mediterranean had ever known blinked out of existence. Not with an army's charge, not with the crash of walls, but with a single woman's breath. Her last one. She was born into a dynasty that ate its own children. The Ptolemies had ruled Egypt for 275 years, Greek rulers sitting on a pharaoh's throne. By the time Cleopatra arrived in 69 BC, her family had perfected one art above all others: killing each other, siblings poisoned fathers, daughters dethroned mothers. She watched this, she learned. Here is what they don't put in the films. Cleopatra was not beautiful by Roman standards. She was dangerous by every standard. She spoke 9 languages. The first Ptolemaic ruler to bother learning Egyptian. She studied philosophy, mathematics, astronomy. She could negotiate with a Nubian chief in his own dialect and out-argue a Roman senator in Latin before lunch. Power wasn't handed to her, she built it, word by word.
May she bring prosperity to the two lands.
At 21, her own brother had her exiled at sword point. She was queen of nothing. Camped in the desert, watching her palace from across the border. Most rulers would have bent. Cleopatra did something the history books still can't quite believe. She smuggled herself into the bedroom of the most powerful man in the world, wrapped inside a linen sack. Julius Caesar opened it. His jaw dropped. History turned. Caesar restored her throne. In return, Egypt's grain, the richest breadbasket on earth, fed Rome's armies. It was politics, dressed as romance. She gave him a son, Caesarion. She traveled to Rome, met the Senate, and they hated her for it. A foreign queen, an Egyptian, a woman with too much power and too much mind. Then, on the Ides of March, 44 BC, 23 stab wounds ended everything she'd built. She was 28. Rome had fractured into civil war. 2 men now fought for Caesar's legacy, Octavian in the west, Mark Antony in the east. Cleopatra chose Antony. Some call it love. It was strategy. She arrived to meet him in Tarsus, dressed as Aphrodite herself. Golden sails, silver oars, perfumed sails so thick the city emptied to watch her arrive. Antony came to summon her. Instead, she made him come to her. She never stopped playing. Together, they declared an empire of the East. Antony gave her Cyprus, Cyrene, Coele-Syria. Their children received kingdoms. In Rome, Octavian showed the crowds Antony's will, claiming Antony wanted to be buried in Alexandria, not Rome. To Roman ears, this was treason. The question was no longer who ruled Rome. It was, would Rome let a woman rule the world? September 2nd, 31st BC, the Battle of Actium. Cleopatra's fleet broke away. Why? Historians still argue. Was it cowardice? A plan gone wrong? Or did she already know it was over? Antony followed her. His armies, confused, surrendered. In one afternoon, everything, the Eastern Empire, the dream, the dynasty, dissolved into the Ionian Sea. She locked herself inside her own mausoleum with her treasure and sent word she was dead. Antony, believing her gone, fell on his own sword. He didn't die immediately. They brought him to her. He died in her arms, inside a building surrounded by everything Egypt ever owned. Octavian's soldiers were already at the gates. She was still queen. For exactly 1 more month. Octavian came to see her in person. Perhaps he expected tears, or surrender. What he met was a queen in full regalia, negotiating. She offered treasure. She offered alliance. She offered herself as a political asset. Octavian nodded politely. He planned to parade her through Rome in chains, the greatest trophy any conqueror had ever displayed. She knew. She had always known. They found her on the morning of August 12th, 30th BC, dressed in her full royal regalia, a crown on her head. She had chosen exactly how this would end, not as a Roman spectacle, not in chains, not as someone else's trophy. She died as she had lived, a pharaoh, on her own terms, in her own kingdom, the last of her kind. With her death, 3,000 years of pharaonic civilization ended. Egypt became a Roman province. Her son Caesarion, Caesar's son, Cleopatra's son, was executed within weeks. Her 3 children with Antony were raised in Rome by Octavian's wife. The Ptolemaic line was severed, root and branch. Octavian became Augustus. The Roman Empire was born from the corpse of her dream. But history remembered her, not him, by name.